He seemed so normal, handsome, charming. That was Rodney Alcala's most effective disguise. He hid a monster behind his smile. This is the story of a man who lured people in with his charm. He used it to trap his victims. He was a predator hiding in plain sight. Rodney Alcala is a name that sends chills down the spines of many. He was a cunning serial killer. He preyed on young women and one young boy. His crimes shocked the nation. He was different from many serial killers. He was handsome and charismatic. He was able to gain the trust of his victims. He used that trust to commit unspeakable acts. Alcala's case is a terrifying reminder. Evil can masquerade as charming. It teaches us that appearances can be deceiving. His story is a stark warning. We must be cautious. We must trust our instincts. We never truly know who we're dealing with. This is a journey into the dark heart of a killer. We will explore Alcala's life. We will uncover the signs that were missed. We will delve into the minds of those who hunted him. We will honor the memories of those he took. This is the story of the charming killer. Rodney Alcala's early life was marked by instability. Born in San Antonio, Texas in 1943, his family life was tumultuous. His father abandoned the family when Rodney was young. His mother moved him and his sisters frequently. This constant upheaval created a sense of rootlessness in young Rodney. It may have contributed to his growing detachment from societal norms. As a teenager, Alcala began to exhibit troubling behaviors. He was arrested for the first time at age 17. He lured a young girl into his car. Thankfully, she was found and rescued before further harm could be done. This early incident foreshadowed the darkness that lurked within him. It was a missed opportunity to intervene. Despite his troubled past, Alcala was intelligent and cunning. He managed to project an air of normalcy. He even attended UCLA and studied film under Roman Polanski. This juxtaposition of normalcy and deviance would become a hallmark of his deadly double life. Alcala's manipulative nature allowed him to blend in. He excelled at presenting a charming facade. This only made his crimes even more shocking. How could someone who seemed so normal be capable of such horrific acts? This question has haunted investigators and those who knew him for decades. As Alcala entered adulthood, his dark fantasies intensified. He developed a fascination with photography. He often used it as a way to lure young women into compromising positions. He would approach them, offering to take their picture. He would promise them modeling opportunities. He preyed on their innocence and ambition. His crimes escalated in the 1970s. He was living in Los Angeles. He began a string of brutal murders. He targeted young women, often strangling them and posing their bodies. He would sometimes take pictures of his victims before and after he killed them. These photos would later become crucial evidence against him. One of his earliest known victims was Tali Shapiro. She was just 8 years old. He lured her into his apartment. A neighbor witnessed the abduction and called the police. They arrived just in time. They found Tali barely alive. Alcala, however, managed to escape. This began his life on the run. The attack on Tali Shapiro was a turning point. It showed the depths of Alcala's depravity. He was no longer content with just assaulting his victims. He was now taking their lives. The hunt for the elusive killer intensified. But Alcala always seemed to be one step ahead. In a chilling twist of fate, Alcala appeared on the popular television show The Dating Game in 1978. He was a contestant. He charmed the audience and Bachelorette with his wit and good looks. He even won a date. This macabre appearance, while he was actively killing, illustrates the depths of his deception. The woman who chose Alcala for the date later refused to go out with him. She said he had a creepy vibe. This was a lucky escape for her. Alcala was in the midst of his killing spree. He had already killed several women. He would go on to kill more after his appearance on the show. The Dating Game episode took on a sinister new meaning after Alcala's crimes came to light. It became a chilling reminder of his ability to blend in. He could deceive even those who thought they were good judges of character. The episode also provided investigators with a valuable tool. It gave them a clear image of Alcala during the time he was committing murders. This helped them connect him to other unsolved cases. Throughout the late 1970s, Alcala left a trail of bodies across California and other states. He used various aliases and changed his appearance, evading capture time and time again. His crimes became more brazen, and his victims came from all walks of life, but they shared a tragic fate. One of his most high-profile victims was Jill Barkham, a young woman from New York. She was found murdered in Los Angeles in 1977. Her death, like many of Alcala's murders, was brutal and shocked the community. As the body count rose, so did the pressure on law enforcement. The FBI joined the investigation, determined to bring Alcala to justice. They launched a nationwide manhunt, distributed wanted posters, and followed every lead. But Alcala remained elusive. His ability to evade capture for so long is a testament to his cunning. He was a master manipulator, able to blend in and charm his way out of difficult situations. He was a ghost, appearing and disappearing at will. In 1979, Alcala's luck finally began to run out. He was arrested for the murder of 12-year-old Robin Samsoe, having taken her picture on the beach before killing her. This time, there was overwhelming evidence against him. The police had found jewelry belonging to several missing women in a storage locker rented in Alcala's name. They also discovered hundreds of photographs of young women in suggestive and disturbing poses. Many of the women in the photos have never been identified, and it is feared that they may be additional victims of Alcala's crimes. During his trial for Robin Samsoe's murder, Alcala represented himself and exhibited bizarre behavior in court. He cross-examined witnesses, including Robin's mother, in a cold and callous manner. He even took the stand and testified in a rambling and incoherent manner, coming across as arrogant and lacking in remorse. Despite the mountain of evidence against him, the jury found Alcala guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death. However, his legal challenges and appeals would drag on for decades. Justice for Robin Samsoe and his other victims was agonizingly slow. In the years following Alcala's conviction for Robin Samsoe's murder, forensic science advanced significantly. DNA technology, still in its infancy in the 1980s, became more sophisticated. Investigators were finally able to link Alcala to several cold cases through DNA evidence. In 2003, Alcala's DNA was matched to the crime scene of Jill Barkham, the young woman found murdered in Los Angeles in 1977. This was a major breakthrough in the case. It provided irrefutable evidence of Alcala's guilt. It opened the door to connecting him to other unsolved murders. Over the next few years, Alcala's DNA would link him to the murders of Georgia Wickstead, Charlotte Lamb, and Jill Parento. These women had all been murdered in the 1970s. Their cases had gone cold. But thanks to advances in DNA technology, justice was finally within reach. The DNA evidence was the key to finally holding Alcala accountable for his crimes. It provided scientific proof that could not be disputed. It silenced any doubts about his guilt. It brought closure to the families of his victims. In 2010, Rodney Alcala stood trial again. This time, he faced 5 counts of murder. The trial took place in Orange County, California. The courtroom was packed with family members of the victims. They had waited decades for justice. The prosecution presented a strong case. They laid out the gruesome details of Alcala's crimes. They presented the DNA evidence linking him to the murders. They called witnesses who had survived encounters with Alcala. They painted a chilling portrait of a serial killer who preyed on innocent victims. Once again, Alcala represented himself. He continued to deny his guilt. He tried to discredit the evidence against him. He tried to confuse the jury with rambling and irrelevant arguments. But his attempts to manipulate the court failed. The evidence was too strong. After a lengthy trial, the jury found Alcala guilty on all 5 counts of murder. He was sentenced to death for a second time. This time, there would be no reprieve. The judge called Alcala a monster and said that he deserved nothing less than the death penalty. The horrors inflicted by Rodney Alcala continued to reverberate long after his convictions. Families of the victims have been left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. They struggle with the loss of their loved ones. They search for answers. They seek solace in knowing that Alcala can never harm anyone again. The case also highlighted the importance of forensic science in solving crimes. The use of DNA technology proved to be instrumental in securing justice for the victims. It revolutionized the way law enforcement investigates and prosecutes crimes. Alcala's ability to evade capture for so long raised serious questions about the criminal justice system. It exposed flaws in the way law enforcement shared information. It led to improvements in communication and coordination between agencies. The case also sparked a national conversation about the dangers of stranger danger. It reminded parents to be vigilant in protecting their children. It encouraged communities to work together to create a safer environment for everyone. Rodney Alcala was a monster who preyed on the innocent. He was a master manipulator who used his charm to disarm his victims. His crimes left a trail of devastation and heartbreak across the country. But amidst the horror, it is essential to remember the victims. They were daughters, sisters, friends, and individuals with their own hopes and dreams. Their lives were cut tragically short, but their memories live on. Tali Shapiro, Jill Barkham, Georgia Wickstead, Charlotte Lamb, Jill Parenteau, and Robin Samso. These are just a few of the names forever etched in the annals of true crime. They are a stark reminder of the human cost of evil. They serve as a call to action to fight for justice, to protect the vulnerable, and to never forget. Rodney Alcala may be gone, but the scars of his crimes run deep. It is our duty to remember the victims, to learn from the past, and to strive for a safer future where such horrors are never repeated. Only then can we truly honor the memory of those lost and offer solace to those left behind.